Good morning, Gladstone region. Today is a Tuesday, 19th of May, and we are, as usual, meeting on the lands of the Baili, the Gran, and the Tarabal Banda peoples, and I'd like to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and those emerging. We go on to the first item of our agenda, and that's apologies. So we have apologies from Mayor Burnett and Councillor Wagner, and I need a resolution that an apology for the Mayor, Matt Burnett and Councillor Wagner be received. Can I have a mover? Councillor McClintock, second, Councillor Patrick. Are we all in favour? Thank you very much. Next in our agenda is messages of condolences. Do I have any messages of condolences? No, thank you. Prior notifications of conflict of interest? No. Okay, wonderful. Next is the Mayor's statement of current issues, and as acting Mayor, I will have the pleasure of doing that. So, again, has been 2 very busy weeks, as usual, in our region, and there's been some events that I'd like to highlight. Wednesday, the 6th of May, GEA Supply Chain Expo, which I was honoured to open that morning. It was really great to see so many businesses in attendance, and congratulations to GEA for organising that great event. Saturday the 9th and Sunday the 10th, we had World Bonsai Weekend celebration. And I know some councillors attended, and I wasn't able to go, but it's a beautiful space. And if you haven't been, please, I'm sure you will be able to make some time to go and visit. On the Sunday, the 10th of May, Mother's Day Classic, Tannum Sands, I believe Councillor Holzheimer went, and Councillor Davis, and another great event that happens every year. On Wednesday, 13th of May, a lot of our councillors attended the community forum, this time in Curtis Island, which I believe was also a great success, and a number of officers and general managers, including our CEO, attended. So thank you very much to that community for the warm welcome and the good conversations. Saturday, 16th of May, which was just last Saturday, we went to Matt Lackham to do the 60-kilometre walking relay marathon with the Mount Lackham RSL sub-branch. And that was Councillor McClintock that wouldn't stop running, and myself, Councillor Melissa and Councillor Karen that walked and kept cheering him from the sidelines. So thank you, that was a great morning, and hopefully we can help with a bit more promotion next year and get more people to attend, because it was a great morning, great weather, great company. So upcoming events this week, we have lots as usual. So this Thursday morning, we are actually hosting the Gladstone Chamber of Commerce and Industry bi-monthly coffee catch-up at the Lightbox. So it's also a special month as we celebrate Small Business Month. And I will be attending and having a little chat with everyone on behalf of the Gladstone Regional Council. Now, on Thursday, the 21st of May, the same day, we then head to 1770 Art Show and their opening night. Again, an annual event, one of best events of the year. And I wanted to congratulate Prue and her committee on another great year, but I can't wait to see all the entries, and a few of us will be there as well. So, and everything's happening down in Agnes 1770 this weekend, with the 1770 festival starting on Friday all the way through to Sunday. So the entry is free, and it's a great opportunity to go and support our region family members from in the south. The following week, we have on May 28th, the 2026 Gladstone Disability Forum. And if you Google that, you can get tickets that are available online. And on the 29th and to the 31st of May, we have another wonderful event in our region, Rainbow on the Reef Pride Festival. And there's a number of other events that happen from the Friday night all the way through Sundays. So not just the festival, but so head to their Facebook page or their website to make sure that you get to go to one of those events, which are always a lot of fun and also in great company. And one of our signature events, so you don't miss it, and put it in your calendars, EcoFest, Sunday the 7th of June. That's our region key environmental awareness festival. So lots of things to do. If you don't know, or if you want more information, and there's other activities in the region, go also on our website, and there's a page that has all the events possible, from markets to community events to sporting games, etc., etc. So a great way of staying connected. Now, from that's the statement of current issues. Now we're going straight on G2, confirmation of minutes for May 5th. So any questions, comments? Can I have a mover for that item? Councillor Davis, seconder, Councillor Holzheimer. Are we all in favour? Thank you very much. Next in our agenda is deputations. There's no deputations that I can see in here. And we'll go straight on to officers' report. And we have G 4.1, 2025-2026 Operational Plan Quarter 3 Performance Report. And Carly Quinn, General Manager, People and Strategy, will present. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors. As usual, I'm very proud to present all of the activity and work that's gone on behind the scenes over the last quarter. You'll see, I'll take the report as read, but you'll see a theme through there that's pretty strong this quarter on risk management. And whilst that's always critical to our organisation, some internal and external factors have had that at a heightened impact for us over the last quarter. Ultimately, though, what I'll share is that those risks have been controlled, and so delivery of the initiatives themselves are not delayed and are on track. But also that the other part, internally, the risk was due to a number of factors. We had some resourcing challenges, and so we had to do some shuffling of some resources to ensure that we could deliver the projects. That has been done successfully. We haven't had to put anything else down. We haven't had to sacrifice anything. We've just been able to remanage the way we've approached those projects, so they're on track. Externally, though, that is also a factor, and we've had to stand up our business continuity team. You'll see some themes through the report on that as well. So I think risk is definitely the theme of the last quarter, but as a result of that, we've been proactive when it comes to our external threats and reactive when it came to the internal threats, but we've been able to keep the projects on track. So a bit more specifically about what we've achieved. We've undertaken a full review of Council's website to make sure information is accurate, easy to find and written in a way that people can actually understand it. Behind the scenes, we're also improving the way we track the website, so we can use a better understanding of how people are looking for information, where they're getting stuck, what's not working, how can they access our services faster and better. We're now halfway through our scheduled service planning conversations, so we've had 11 of those in the last 6 months, and continuing those and continuing to work with Council on how we improve those moving forward to better inform future decisions. This quarter also gave us a real opportunity to test how we respond during uncertain situations, and following the prolonged external challenges, and particularly, I guess, the fuel crisis and some of those other challenges, we've stood up the business continuity team, as I mentioned. We have focused on improving our systems. So the systems that our teams use every day so work can be delivered more consistently and efficiently. We've been preparing for the rollout of our new project, Lifecycle Management System, which you'll see in the report. This system's going to help how Council plans, tracks and delivers major projects. The system's being tested ahead of a soft launch in May. with larger projects being prioritised first to ensure major investments are managed more effectively from the outset. And over time, this will help improve our long-term planning, budgeting and forecasting, giving Council a clearer picture of future investment needs and helping ensure projects are aligned to what matters most for our region. At the same time, we are refining the way investment decisions are made so that funding is directed towards projects that best meet community needs and priorities. So whether it's been improving systems, reviewing services, strengthening leadership or planning for the future, the aim has been clear and simple: create practical improvements that make a real difference in day-to-day operations and as a result ensure that the services delivered to our region. Any questions?
Can I start with Councillor Patrick?
Good morning, Carly. How are you?
Morning.
Thank you for that presentation. Love how it's been displayed, so thank you for the work that's being done. Just a quick question with regards to the business continuity team standing up. I'm just wondering, are there any key points or themes that are coming up, and are we liaisoning with our LGAQ and on those matters? I know that the LGAQ has quite a good advocacy with the rising cost of fuel, and then obviously advocating at a higher level. Can you just take me through that?
Yeah, sure. So Lisa may provide some more context on the LGAQ connection, but the Mayor, our CEO, and other key officers at different times are staying very well connected to the LGAQ work. We're attending all of their webinars and information, and the Mayor and Lisa were down there in person attending one of those updates around fuel. The first part of your question around what are the emerging issues, what we're probably seeing now is we're doing a lot of forecasting of what the future risks could be and what the risks are now, but where they could emerge, because we're probably not feeling too much of the impact other than the obvious ones around cost and increasing costs. They've been happening for a significant period of time as well, not just through this crisis. So increasing costs, increasing fuel costs, increasing on costs for construction projects is something we've talked about here a fair bit. That is definitely a theme. But we're also just keeping an eye on what some of those other future things could be, particularly around people and psychosocial. We're not seeing those realise yet, but in that business continuity meeting is where we're talking about what could happen next, and if this goes longer, what are the things that could happen.
Thanks. Just one more question. Following on from that, what practical ways have we looked at refining what we do currently in line with the business continuity risks?
I'm going to see if Tanya can think of one.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's a lot of things that our people have already done off their own initiative, things like where there's impacts on our people in terms of carpooling and reducing that impact on individuals. The main impacts we're seeing at the moment are in relation to cost, and also particularly in the contracts area. I think we've had 93 formal requests to vary contracts in light of increased costs to those people doing work for us. So they're probably some of the areas of the biggest impact at the moment. Scarcity is not raising to be a significant issue right now. We know there are not just fuel, some other products that will be increasingly difficult to access. So we're gathering really good data and putting ourselves in a position where we can understand the scenarios to take the right steps. But in terms of immediate impacts, unless Tanya would like to offer anything else.
No, I think that's right. And it's really what the business continuity team at the moment is really looking forward into. If this is protracted and those risks eventuate, what can we do? So we're planning more than implementing. In terms of actual implementation and monitoring the data, we've created a fuel dashboard so we have great visibility over where our fuel is being consumed, what sort of supply we have. So there's some great things that'll help us not only through this, but lasting beyond that.
That's excellent. I wanted to probably reassure myself and community that we are across this and we are doing things immediately, but also looking at the long-term effects as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Patrick. Councillor McClintock?
Thank you very much. Always like getting these little reports along the way. It's great. Probably a few little bits and pieces through there that caught my eye. I was curious though, for a little bit deeper, and you mentioned it there in your summary of the report, but around that capital management tools, project management tools, and what that looks like. You mentioned some reporting dashboards and stuff like that. I was just curious more so, what does that actually look like? Is that visibility for our staff? Is that visibility for community? What can you paint a little bit perhaps broader or better picture for me of what that looks like, please?
Sure. Mark might come up and talk about the PLM
Beautiful.
and SAM software system. He's the sponsor. I think the dashboards you might also be talking about, were they the maintenance dashboards?
Just
you
under
wrote about in
this, you mentioned some stuff in there which caught my ear, but also the system implementation, soft launching new capital project management tools, finalising schedules and reporting dashboards to ensure our customer-focused improvements remain on track.
Good morning, councillors. The answer to your question is all of the above. So
Yep.
it will give better visibility to our people, to yourselves, and to the community. We'll be able to provide much better accuracy in our scheduling and forecasting. But more importantly, it will give us a real usable tool to help with our pre-feasibility work, to understand that we select the right option and that we deliver what the community requires. Behind that, it is a system, but behind that is its process and its responsibilities and accountabilities, which need to be embedded. And it's a terrific tool to enable that embedding of the processes and the responsibilities and accountabilities.
My question is probably twofold a little bit there, in the sense that I know community are very interested in how effective we are as a business and how council is doing business, but I'm also curious about what that broader stuff you mentioned there, those systems and processes, and how that impacts us strategically as far as being able to make better decisions going forwards. Is it better data? I mean, it's probably a collection of things, I understand that, but is it us having access to better data? Is it us looking at different things? Is it having better allocation of our staff that helps us do this better than we've done previously? What are we really leaning into in this process that's different to the way we've done it before?
We launched a number of years ago an investment decision framework, which was designed to give some rigour to how we make decisions in regards to our capital portfolio, particularly in our renewal and new projects. That never embedded as well as we wanted it to, and that was because of some of the processes, some of the process work and some of the responsibilities and accountabilities weren't clear. So we've taken the opportunity of the implementation of this system to really focus on the embedding and the cultural changes that's required. So it will do all, again, it's not the panacea to all our problems, but it will touch on everything that you've talked about. It will allow us to build a good 3 to 5 year forward view of our capital works. They'll be prioritised based on a number of criteria. The complexity of that work will also inform the resourcing. We'll then be able to work with Carly's team and the capital programme team to work a resourcing plan for that forward work, understand whether we need to outsource project management or insource some of that project management. So it gives us that view of doing that. More importantly for the community, it also gives a better reliability of our estimations of costs and when things become deliverable. At the moment, as we've talked about in other forums, we often go from we should do something to we should do this without very clear understanding of what that's going to be. And some of that's driven by external forces, including funding availability, which can be a blessing and a curse. But what we want to really do is slow down that early planning work and give responsibilities and accountabilities across the assets and environment and the operational teams to raise operational risks that we can then solve through capital interventions or potentially really focus on non-asset solutions where those are available to reduce the need for capital interventions. So it's a big sort of smorgasbord of benefits that we have for this system, and it will, as I say, give better confidence and better visibility to the community that we're going to spend the money in a good way that benefits the community, and it's the right projects at the right time.
obviously there's a lot of external factors, but we have a lot of capital projects, obviously, always, but particularly at the moment, there's a lot of very visible ones and a lot of very forward-focused ones. So I can appreciate this is as important as ever for our community to understand that as well. I did have another question, but I kind of got sidetracked listening to what you were saying there and lost track of it. But thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Simon. Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, thank you. I think Councillor Patrick and Councillor McClintock were probably covering some aspects of my question, and that's a good discussion. That's a real good discussion. But last night when I was submitting my feedback to the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, quite a lengthy feedback to the committee that they're seeking from us, I was trying to understand, and I think you were nearly touching on it there, Mark, I'm trying to understand how, from our perspective, is that our business continuity team, and they've been working, or they've been stood up to, in light of what's happening, I suppose, in the global world and how that global activity is affecting supply chains for our region and the geopolitical uncertainty that's occurring as well. How does that align with our proposed new budget and the impact on our ratepayers relevant to our capital works project, in light of the fact that we've now identified, and we're well aware that, you know, and the Gladstone pool is a prime example, is the ageing assets that we've got, and you touched on the decision-making framework that we actually installed in an endeavour to go through the gates to get it right when we get to the end. So, in short, my question, in amongst all that plethora of information, was trying to understand where does this, or the findings from the Business Continuity Committee, albeit the overviewing of our ARIC committee, find its way now into our new proposed budget going forward, and the impact. An impact can be a negative, but it can also be a positive, in the word of the connotation, impact, as a benefit to our ratepayers and the impact it's going to have on them. Where does it find its way? Is it being siphoned into a report that will come to us before we hand down the budget?
I'll
You
give
go.
a high level, but then I will get Mark to talk specifically to the capital.
Yep.
So even though the business continuity team has only just been stood up, it's probably been informally stood up or we're actively working on it for a number of months now. So a lot of the work that we have been having with you and the workshops that we've been having already have this information informing it. So this is not new information that now all of a sudden we have to try and work in. So we have been considering escalations in fuel costs, potential escalations in construction costs for probably a good 6 months now. And as I mentioned a little bit before, this has been escalating even prior to so fuel itself wasn't escalating, but construction costs have been escalating for a while now anyway. So those things are already finding their way into your budget. All of the right people are around the business continuity table. That finance is in there. Anything that happens in that room, it immediately goes back into our modelling. So we're not having to connect it. It's already connected. How we're connecting it with you is through our regular updates and our monthly reporting to you, financial reporting, but also in our budget workshops. So specifically though, I think where some of the biggest impact could be is in that capital program. So I'll let Mark talk to that.
Known unknowns is what we have at the moment. We know there's potentially some shocks and tightening coming. One of the pieces of confidence we can provide is that the roads work, which is largely funded through the Queensland Reconstruction Authority, we do have agreement there that the escalating costs in terms of fuel will continue to be met through that, and there'll be an opportunity to vary the budget for those works. So we're confident that we'll be able to continue to recover the costs of the reconstruction work on the roads. The other thing that we're doing is, obviously, we continue to forecast on a monthly basis, sometimes on a weekly basis within the capital programme. Again, we can give you some comfort that the vast majority of the projects that we're proposing for next year's budget are in flight. So they are either deep into execution, where we have good confidence on some of the costs, or very mature projects about to execute, where we have good estimates. That's not to say that we won't receive requests for variations and increase in costs. Lisa touched on a number of fuel-related claims there's already been through our contractual arrangements, and people are able to make those claims through their contracts. So that just hits our forecasting process. We then need to forecast that. What that means for the overall budget then, there's always a level of tolerance and materiality within the capital budget. But what we've done subsequent to the business continuity workshop is, and this touches not just on capital, but will touch on the operational costs as well, is to do some scenario planning. That if the escalation in cost becomes material in terms of our budget, to be able to provide you options to reduce services and reduce some of our programs, and particularly within our operation space, which is the vast majority of our spend, that's what the team are focusing on, and they're reporting back to the business continuity team, I think, within the next couple of weeks.
Terrific. No, thank you for that, because I know we don't have a crystal ball, but because of what's changing, and I'm well aware that when a price goes up and if things calm or moderates a bit, I'm not sure prices are going to go back down again. So, you've mentioned the known unknowns, but and again, we don't have a crystal ball and we don't want to be gazing in it, but I'm pleased to hear that you've got some scenario exercises in a determination of the what-ifs and the impact that it will have, or the burden on our ratepayers. And the other one, if I could just ask, and you touched on it, so maybe it's a simple answer. With the one that we had, which was 13.5 million, which is our claim to the Queensland Reconstruction Authority, that will be, or is very likely to be, amended to meet the expected increase of cost by the end of September, I think it is.
Yep.
That's a yes.
Yes.
All right. No, lovely. Thank you for that. Yep.
Thank
Best
you.
wishes.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Councillor Cameron?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Well, I'm sort of on the same bandwagon here, I guess. Lisa, you mentioned that we've got something like 96 applications for variations of the contract. Are they actually formal applications, or are they just putting us on notice that there is something forthcoming?
That's 93 formal, so there's others we know of that are informal that hadn't yet progressed. That was as of a week ago. I'm trying to think how long ago our meeting was, so that's likely to increase.
Okay. The other part of my question is, are they offering any methodology as to how they work up their pricing and how they do that? The other side of it is, out of the 93 formals, is there any consistency in methodology that you're seeing?
I probably can't answer that. Tanya might be able to, but I know our team, we're certainly looking for evidence to support claims that are made in any contract variation situation, but Tanya might be able to add to that.
Yeah, no, that's right. Each one is really a case-by-case basis and can vary depending on what the mechanisms and clauses are in the contracts, but we are preparing a report. We did have one. We just wanted to update it after the last business continuity team meeting, so we'll bring it to council, and that'll give you a more clearer overview of the impacts that we're currently experiencing. It'll come to a council information session.
Okay, thanks for that, because I have been in that situation before, not to any great extent, but we relied heavily on institutions like Master Builders Institute of Building for data that they can give us to back up our applications, which generally comes down just to percentage. No real, nuts and bolts methodology, but just basically a theory of what's there. Is that what you're seeing? Again.
I've not seen myself any of the particular applications, but my understanding is we'd be looking at what the budgeted expense was for particular materials and what the actuals are that they're paying to verify that there's a difference in what was understood at the time that they quoted for the work. But Mark might have some more to add.
If I could give an example, the Boyntonham Aquatic Centre. So the claim there is for the earthworks, where they understand the plant they're going to have, they understand the hours it's going to have to work to do the earthworks, they know how much fuel it uses per hour. Their quoted amount was this. If they were to do it at this price, it would be this. So we do require that level of evidence for significant variations, and not just say it's going to be difficult, so give us an extra couple of %.
Yeah, thanks for that. That is a nuts and bolts application, that one. the fuel prices are moving day by day.
Yep.
So they've got to strike an average somewhere. I just
Yep.
wonder how you do that.
Well, we can take that notice and we'll bring that back
Yeah,
when we bring the report back.
Thank you, Councillor Chris. Yeah, it is, well, thanks for that discussion. I think we will probably, again, touch on that on the financial report, yes. So just wanted to mention, I was just discussing the pressures on different councils around the state, well, and the nation, and I guess we just in the same boat, all of us are. So just got to manage and see how we go. But thank you for the business continuity exercise. So because there's nothing, well, you can't control, you can definitely plan and at least be aware. So I think I'm going to go to Councillor Holzheimer and then Councillor Patrick. Thank you.
I was just going to move the report.
Yeah, no problem. Councillor Davis to second that motion that Councillor Holzheimer has moved, but Councillor Patrick has another comment or question.
Sorry, I do, and it was with regards to Councillor Churchill's comment about audit and risk. That is next on our agenda to have a look at the audit and risk report. But I did want to highlight that I was sitting in on that committee discussion, and the committee has been briefed, and we asked for reassurance from Gladstone Regional Council, from the business continuity team, and Lisa did provide, or Madam CEO provided the audit and risk team with a comprehensive report on what's happening and where we're sitting, and I just wanted to give that reassurance that is already being looked at audit and risk, but would greatly appreciate that feedback, as all councillors have been asked to give their feedback for audit and risk as well.
Thank you very much. So is there any other comments or questions? Okay, so we have a motion to endorse the 2025-26 operational plan quarter 3 performance report, moved by Councillor Holzheimer, seconded by Councillor Davis. Are we all in favour? Very good, thank you. That's carried, and we will move on to the next item in our agenda, which is 4.2, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting, summary of the 19th of March 2026 meeting. And that will go to you, Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you. So this report presents a summary from the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting from March 2026. The minutes of the meeting, quite comprehensive minutes, are available through Docs on Tap, but I'm happy to take the report as read.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments? Councillor Churchill?
No, I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation that that these are quite comprehensive, and it probably triggers a lot of extra information that needs to be contributed in the request for the feedback, or the request for feedback survey. Yeah, so, but yeah, no, I'm happy to move.
Yeah.
The council received the report reviewed by the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 19th of March 2026.
Great. I think I have also a seconder and Councillor Cameron. And I, just as a, I guess I'm one of the members of the ARIC committee with Councillor Holzheimer. And I believe Councillor Patrick attended the last one, so as a proxy. Now, this week we also have a planning meeting, and I'm sure there will be a lot of discussions about some of the things we're talking about. But this is one of those things that, well, they seem to, I guess, slip under the radar a lot of the times. But this is probably one of the most important pieces of information that the community can read about operations of council. So I highly recommend it. So if any part of the minutes you want to read, there is quarterly or often there is a report on each of the meetings that ARIC has that are presented to these meetings. So please read them, and they're quite exciting sometimes. Yeah, if you find that exciting. So, okay, so I have a mover on Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, if I could just make a quick comment, water, water, water. We just need to watch that environment from here on. And hopefully it'll rain in the meantime, but I don't mean rain coming from the sky. Water, water, water.
Thanks, Councillor Churchill, which is moving the officer's recommendation to receive the report. Seconded by Councillor Cameron. Are we all in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And we move on to the last of officers' reports, which is G 4.3, monthly financial report for the period ending 30th of April 2026, and goes back to Tanya or Jess? So yeah, thank you, both of you. Another wonderful, exciting part of our meeting.
Thank you, and I do have with me our Financial Controller, Jess Rosso. The monthly financial report reflects Council's financial position and performance as at the 30th of April. As we enter the final quarter of the year, we have received 79% of forecast income. Overall, cash balances remain strong at 162 million, of which 114 million is invested in term deposits. Interest from this investment remains strong and above forecast due to higher than anticipated interest rates. There is approximately 6.8 million of outstanding rates yet to be collected, and a second round of water consumption charges to be realised in June. While revenue from general purpose grants appear to be significantly under budget, this is usually received in June, and following the recent announcement that prepayment is going to be increased from 50% to 80%, that amount in June will be larger than initially anticipated and will be reflected in our forecast. On the expenditure front, equipment expenses have exceeded the forecast position. Equipment expenses include costs such as internal and external plant hire, minor plant, tools, office furniture, and equipment and software. Hire of external equipment has increased to cover breakdown of plant and equipment in water services. Motor vehicle expenses are also tracking high against forecast, and this overspend has been analysed as we outwork the Q3 forecast, which we will discuss with councillors as part of the 2027 budget preparations. Our capital expenditure sits at $66.4 million. Significant expenditure is due to occur throughout the months of May and June, tracking towards a forecast position of $99.7 million. This also helps explain capital revenue, which sits at 47% of forecast, as grant funding is recognised on achievement of project milestones. We have incorporated feedback from councillors in this month's report and identified 2 projects that are at risk in terms of funding requirements. Officers remain in discussions with the relevant departments in relation to Round Hill 2 Reservoir and Red Rover Road Bridge projects, and are hopeful of securing variation to funding agreements. Thank you.
Very good. So we also ask for variations. So can I have any? Oh, Councillor Holzheimer, and let me know Councillor McClintock after that. Thank you.
I definitely won't be deep diving in like Councillor McClintock does. I simply just wanted to acknowledge the different way the story's been told, and that for me, I really appreciate the information, especially at the start of the report, that gives a lot more context, and how the report has evolved to meet our needs as within the room as well, to understand the information being presented as well. So thank you to the team for growing with us and changing how that information is shared as well.
Thank you, Councillor Melissa. Councillor McClintock.
Yeah, thank you. Mine was a little bit higher level on the understanding around the current unfavourable position. Obviously is going to change as we get towards the end. I'm trying to remember lots of things coming into the inbox, but did we receive and dividend that was going to change that, but now we're sitting at still half a million under by end of year is the anticipated result. I'm trying to figure out where all the moving parts are gone. There's a lot of pieces of information from variations and all sorts of stuff coming in. What is maybe just a couple of big rocks that have made it hard shift in either direction there that have got us to where we are?
Okay, so a couple of things, just confirming that 15 million is a year to date. There will
Correct.
be a significant shift in that.
Yep.
That is not our end position.
I think your forecast in your attachment is about 500,000 or so at year end.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. That's where our forecast was. I don't want to dive too deeply at this stage because we're just in our final analysis of
Yep.
the Q3 forecast, which will give us a more accurate indication of where we sit. And I don't think it would be any surprise to anyone in the room that there has been some movement. And yes, we've been really fortunate in receiving the Gladstone Area Water Board dividend. We've received that money, which has helped improve our position,
Yep.
for sure. But then on the other hand of that, we've had expenses related to those larger risks that we've been calling out in terms of the Benarabi landfill leachate issue, water services, asset breakdowns and things like that, which has also pulled us in the other direction.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're reporting against our Q1 forecast, but there has definitely been some shifts in that, and we'll discuss that in depth over the coming weeks.
Wonderful. Thank you. Lots of moving pieces in that. I'd like to move the report be received, if that's okay, please.
Thank you. That will be perfectly fine. Can I have a second there? Councillor Patrick. I have Councillor Davis. I have comments or questions.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Tanya, thank you for the report. I just wanted to check the outstanding rates. What was the figure that you just want to make sure
I think
got it
I
right?
called out 6.8 million.
Yeah. Okay.
To be collected.
So are we working with those residents? I know I've asked this before, but I just want to double check that we're still being proactive and checking, obviously, with them. Because, I mean, we're,
100%, yeah.
I mean, we're getting to the end of the financial year, so that is going to have an effect on the overall figures at the end. So.
That's right. We're working hard with that, and quite a lot of that is under. So $2 million of those rates are being repaid under authorised payment plans. Those that aren't, yes, we do continue to work with them because the last thing the rates team want to do is proceed to significant recovery action for those. But where we have to, we will.
Yeah, it's just something we like to avoid, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Karen. Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, thank you for that. And just as, I suppose, an addendum to where Councillor McClintock was coming from is that as long as we don't become reliant on those GORB dividends, they're not enshrined in legislation. And I know we've had lots of discussions about that, but that was just a comment. I do have a question, or more to try and get a point of clarification, and a wonderful report. It's always very informative and lots of matters, strategic and operational and community wide as well, from a monthly financial report, which is terrific. But you mentioned in here that there was a variation that was recently obtained to retain the funding for the Deepwater National Park Fire Trail Stage 1. And I know that there's been a lot of certain levels of encouragement and angst in that part of our region for all the right reasons. But I just want to get a clarification and refresh my memory, or refresh those perhaps who are listening, was the variation relevant to what's going on in the wider world and a cost increase, or was the variation relevant to the operational delivery of the fire trail?
Yeah, so Mark might be able to provide some more information. The variation is essentially around scope and timeframe for delivery. That's the variation that we're changing, other than increasing costs. But did you want to add to that? Yes.
No, yeah, lovely. No, just explain that to me again, if you don't mind. So it's not variance. The variances are not relevant to the costs.
No.
Right, and the variances are not relevant to the concept of the intent of what we actually want to do with the fire trail. It's the timing of it and our ability to deliver.
Yeah.
Is that how I understand it?
Absolutely. It's the disease that we suffer from, of going from a concept that has funding to then getting boots on the ground and understanding the project there. So it's that pre-feasibility piece. So we're required to do some additional design work before we could execute in a confident way, and that's been done. And that's reflected probably across a number of projects within the capital programme, where we have had to pause, slow down, and do additional design work to ensure we can.
Okay, so are you able to give give us a timeline on that variation?
I need to take that on notice, but I can certainly provide it
Happy
to you
to,
just after
happy
a phone
to,
call.
if you take that on notice, if we could find out just as a timeline more than anything. Now, draw attention to yourself for all the right reasons, is that you mentioned the Red Rover Bridge.
Yes.
And there's a lot of work going on down there, travel that regularly, as others would be as well, with what's happening with, I suppose, the Bailey precinct, the light industrial precinct. But I just want to get an understanding of what is the current status of the Red Rover Bridge? Is that something that our TAG group are looking at? Can you just give an indication of what you mentioned it? I wasn't going to mention it, but now that you've raised the Red Rover Bridge, is there a timeline for delivery?
Just to clarify, the bridge is already up. It's not down. You don't need to raise it.
No, the bridge is still there. Yeah, I'm pleased to say that. I keep getting over it every day.
Yeah, that's being monitored through a regional road transport group as opposed to TAG. It's bridge strengthening work, so that the bridge is currently load limited at the moment. Because of problems with Calliope River and Calliope Anna Branch bridges along the Gladstone Mount Larkham Road, that council asset at Red Rover Road has to perform the service of the state road for the oversized, overmass vehicles. So it needs some strengthening done. That's been designed. We've been actively trying to get this done for 2 years. We've got very good confidence with our funding partners, because it's funded, fully funded in terms of providing that oversized, overmass network. The complication is we require an horizon shutdown to undertake the works. So we have to align with their shutdowns. We can't close off the NRG loop to undertake the work.
So the other, I suppose, concern that gets raised is the delay then appropriately waiting for the Red Rover upgrade to be completed before the intent of closing any part of that bridge? Or am I getting
I think the Red Rover precinct, the Bailey precinct, is completely separate to the bridge project. The bridge project, that's part of the complications in that, and it does come under the RRTG, it constantly comes up in conversation there, is around the tendering process, and when you go out to tender, having a time frame, but then getting that time frame to align with horizon shutdowns has been very complex, where we've had tenders in place, as from what correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't align with the shutdown procedure, and then that window was gone, so then the tender was no longer current. So we're trying to move a whole heap of long-term pieces that have long lead times to align with each other in very short windows has been very complex. So it's a piece of work independent completely of that Bailey precinct, that requires us to strengthen that bridge, basically because we don't have a port access road that's coming through. So, which is another whole conversation that we could have.
Yeah, well, not today, but thank you for that, Mark. Thank you, Councillor McClintock, and you'll keep advocating quite strongly to get it done ASAP.
Always.
Good on you.
Now that kind of shows some of those difficulties that we have, that they're not obvious from a general, I guess, resident's view, or lots of layers underlying lots of issues, or things that need to be coordinated. I had a question, Councillor Patrick, just a quick one. Am I not looking correctly, but are we not reporting on our financial ratios in our report, or?
I believe after some discussion around those ratios, we agreed to publish them on a quarterly basis.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
That will come back to you again.
Yeah, that's great, yeah. Because I remember the suggestion also to have the ratios at the same time over a period of time, which
Yes, to
was
reflect
great.
on
So I
last
was
year,
kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that's, I don't think that's a problem. Just wanted to just double check. Okay, great. Wanted to make sure that everyone's aware. Councillor Wagner has just joined us. Hello. And so Rachel, I'm sure you got it all covered there in the minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My apologies, but as you know, it's torrential rain at the Gold Coast and my play's been cancelled. So
no problem.
I'm here. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, it's good to see you. Councillor Patrick?
Yeah, just a quick question. Just with our cash position, I noticed that this month there was a drop by $18.5 million. What's the expected cash position by June 30 and why such a large drop this month?
I think the job is fairly consistent with our standard. So as you can appreciate, we collect cash reserves at the beginning of the year as income comes in, and then throughout the year that gets accessed. In terms of our forecast position, do you have that, Jess?
The forecast position from the Q1 forecast was just over 200 million. However, that will be impacted when we bring you back to the Q3 forecast. So I won't commit to that just yet, but that's where we have been targeting so far for the year.
Okay.
But Tanya is certainly right. We take our major cash generating activity as our rates generation, which occurs at the start of the year. So we do have a really high spike in our cash at that time, and then we access that cash through the year to deliver our capital for year X as well as our operational expenses.
Awesome, thank you.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Wagner, or you all good? Okay. I think I have definitely a mover in Councillor McClintock and Councillor Patrick as a seconder. That was correct, yeah? That we received the monthly financial report for the period ending April 30th, provided in accordance with the local government regulation. So are we all in favour? Thank you very much. That it's the end of the officers' reports. A very exciting list of reports from officers, which will give anyone that reads this a very good understanding of the operations of council and our financial positions. Going on to the next item in our agenda, it's G.5, councillors' report. So I might just go around the table. Councillor McClintock, any comments? You don't have to have them, but yeah.
Been a busy couple of weeks, but I did probably just want to reflect a little bit on the Fallen Soldiers Walk on the weekend.
Yeah.
So the RSL at Miriam Vale, Mount Larkham, had coordinated a walkathon to commemorate those soldiers lost in Iraq and Afghanistan, along with those who were lost across those tours, who were seconded to other places, and service animals as well. A total of 60 losses of life that they wanted to commemorate, and then actually create or reveal a plaque, and had the privilege of seeing them reveal that plaque there on the weekend as well at the closure of that event. One of the names on that list was actually one of my school friends, and it really is one of those moments. Corporal Ashley Burt was a good friend through school, was a larrikin and always up for a bit of mischief, and when we lost him in 2011, it was one of those moments in your life where it really sinks home the sacrifices that our soldiers make, not just in years gone by and decades gone by, but even today. And I do honour him and all those who have served and continue to serve to make our country the beautiful place and wonderful place that we get to enjoy. So thank you very much, and thank you to the Mount Larkham RSL for putting on that event to commemorate and honour those people as well. Really special to play a part in it and suffer just a little bit, doing lots of circles for the morning. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Simon. Well said. Can I go to Councillor Wagner, even though she's not sitting right there, she's over there, but No councillor report, no problem. Councillor Churchill.
Yeah, thank you. I've got two, one brief one to start with. Councillor McClintock and I, albeit others were apologies, but we had the opportunity to go to the official opening of World Bonsai Day up at the Bonsai House, and to Barry Mearing, to all the staff at Tondoon Botanic Gardens and the Friends of Bonsai. It was the Friday night and the whole weekend. It was just wonderful workshops. And I see in an earlier report, well over 2,000 people have already attended that Bonsai House. So that is a success story on its own. And it was interesting because the feedback that we got appropriately is that it is one of the only in the regions, and it's great to see that there is so much interest coming from southern parts of Queensland and also interstate as well. So I think there's more success to be achieved with that bonsai house in the future going forward, because I've got no doubts there are many champions for the cause with that project. On another one, I just wanted to touch, and bear with me please if you wouldn't mind, I wanted to touch on a privilege and an honour and a pleasure that my wife and I had recently to go to Sydney at our own expense to catch up with a young lad who's made good of himself with great support from his family, Jake Lyle, and great support from the community. And if you bear with me for a second, on his journey now from Gladstone School Musicals, and then to go and watch him perform at Phantom of the Opera right there on the Sydney Harbour, was testament to the strength of our local creative community. Jake's career effectively, and I remember him, I was actually trying to teach him to play percussion when he was about 10 or 12 years of age. I'm so pleased that he went down the performing arts and the singing area, but he's made good for himself. But he started with our Gladstone Combined School Musical, representing Gladstone State High at the Entertainment Convention Centre. He played Papa Ogre in Shrek at 14 years of age. And now to see him leading a major production and an incredible international stage performance on the Sydney skyline was quite emotional. I think I teared up a little bit in the first couple of minutes just seeing him when he struck those first few notes. But I had the opportunity to spend some time with him the day before and buy him a dinner. But most importantly, I presented him with a Gladstone bag that was put together by our staff, a collage of photographs of his development from a young lad right through to now 21, 22 years of age, and a Glad You Made It cap. And we spoke about his time as well and the foundation that was provided. And his success confirms my firm belief that our regional arts program are vitally essential. They provide the training ground for our people in our community, in particular our younger generation, helping them to achieve their full potential in whatever it may be, whether it's the performing arts, sports, or whatever the case might be, academia, to develop the discipline and skill required, state, national and the global stage. For this council, and I congratulate this council, that we continue to support our creative industries and that long-term commitment. And finally, and when we invest in local talent, and I'm sure each and every one of us have got many stories that we can tell of those that have achieved, we're opening the doors for the next generation of Gladstone region youth to lead their fields. And Jake is proof of what happens when regional passion, and Jake actually was testament. He actually said to me, it's not only the family upbringing, but it's the community that helped him to open up the doors for his opportunities for the future. So when that regional passion meets professional opportunity, there are great outcomes and they go on to be good people. Thank you for that part.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. I think I also watched that performance of Shrek. It's amazing. I know what you mean when you say you know, had a couple of tears there, because it's a region. We're very proud of Jake and all of those people, all of those young people specifically that, that take advantage of all the opportunities that this place provides and reach really good places. So thank you. Councillor Davis? Councillor Patrick?
I do. It would be remiss of me not to mention that last Tuesday, on behalf of Mayor Matt, I had the privilege of opening the Cogsy Career Expo. Cogsy being Communities of Gladstone Supporting Youth. This is an event that is fast growing and becoming a standout for our community, which is growing in scale, impact and importance for our region, especially for our youth and our future workforce. The Expo brought together a wide selection of community, including students, job seekers, local employers, industry representatives, training organisations and community services. With more than 60 exhibitors across trades, education, health, engineering, community services and emerging industries, the event once again demonstrated the strength and diversity of opportunity available right here in our Gladstone region. Throughout the morning, I spoke with students exploring their future pathways, employers showcasing real local jobs and training providers offering hands-on insight into apprenticeships, traineeships and future study. The energy in the room when I walked into the GCC, it was quite electric. They actually had attendance of around 1,300 to 1,600 students participating, so it was a very well received expo. I just want to extend my thanks to the organisers, exhibitors and the volunteers who made that event possible. The Cogsy Career Expo is a powerful reminder of what can be achieved when community, industry, education come together with very much a shared purpose. And it was an honour for me to open that exhibition and Career Expo on behalf of the Mayor. I do want to acknowledge all of the volunteers this week. We are celebrating this week Volunteers Week and acknowledge that Gladstone Regional Council did have funding so that community organisations, groups could apply for that funding and hold their own recognition of their volunteers and organisations. I did actually attend a very lovely celebration on the weekend, which was at the Genealogical Society for the Gladstone District, where they were celebrating their volunteers, and they also, and I want to extend my congratulations onto Judy Spencer on her life membership of more than almost 30 years of service to that organisation, which is an incredible achievement. So I did want to just formally recognise her and all the great work that's happening. So that's it from me. And I hope all volunteers have a great week celebrating with their organisations, clubs, groups, and thank you for all that you do. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Patrick. I might go back to you, Councillor Simon, but it's Councillor Holzheimer's turn.
I am the Vice Chair on LGAQ Circular Economy and Waste Management Committee. And we were fortunate enough to have some DETSI members and some RIQ members attend our last meeting. And we've also had some new membership as well. And we're looking at getting some Indigenous communities, so some of our really remote communities to join that space. Because that's a gap we have at the moment. Some of the key conversations I really wanted to share, which leads on to some of the issues we're having within council. So there were 5 key themes. One of them was that waste management is getting more complicated. So it's not just about collecting bins and running landfill sites. Councils are now balancing rising transport costs, infrastructure needs, recycling contamination, education, some workforce pressures and long-term financial sustainability in that place. Regional councils are also starting to feel the pressure the most because of the distance and the higher operating costs. So hopefully there's some financial incentive stuff from DETSI and some of the new funding streams that are coming out there. The next was around the importance of collaboration within the regions as well. So how do we work better together to reduce costs and improve efficiencies in regards to sharing transport, regional processing hubs, and better coordination between councils, and the importance of that, and how some of that new investment may actually look at that hub and spoke kind of model as well in that space. Then the third was recycling only works when there's a market for the end product. So that's one of the challenges that we're facing as well, and one of the big focuses around that circular economy space. So what happens at the end? So we can recycle materials, and it's more than just collecting them and going through that. So the procurement and purchasing decisions that happen at different stages of that as well. The fourth key topic was around education and clear messaging. So looking at lifting that from a local level to actually a state and a national level, so that there is consistency in messaging across Queensland and also across the country around what we actually put in our bins, the types of bins we have, and some more campaigns in that space as well, from state and federal government, not actually funded through LGAQ like we have done as councils, and some lobbying and that sort of thing in that space. And the last key point was around battery and solar panel waste becoming a really growing issue. So more batteries and rooftop solar systems are being used across Australia, and councils are starting to prepare for that growing challenge of how these items can safely be managed at the end of their life. And battery-related fires and disposal risks were some of the major discussion points. And then those national stewardship programs. So, you know, when we are creating an item, we're looking at what happens at the end of life as well. So they were some of the key points that we actually spoke about. And Rachel, I have this to send to you as well. So, because you're typing madly. So yeah, really good meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Holzheimer. It's definitely not just put things in the bin and that's it. The fairies don't necessarily come and take it away. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to give you a little bit of a history about that Careers Expo that Cogsy are running. That was started some 30 years ago by the South Gladstone Rotary Club.
Very much so, exactly.
And it was a 2-day expo, which we did annually. And a lot of exhibitors and all the schools, all the high schools came in and were attending. Education Queensland thought they could do it better. So they gave us the boot. They did it once, it was a monumental failure, and they scrapped it and never did it again. The EQUIP program was created mainly by the Gladstone Regional Council, and it was reinstated along with other programs. Education Queensland came along and said, we can do this better. And it was a monumental failure. It's now been taken up by Cogsy, which is headed up by David Nunn.
Yeah.
You know, well, we call him Risky, he doesn't like that. High Risk Solutions is a scaffolding company. And the other main fellow in that is Bruce Hunt, which you all know. And they just happen to be both members and executive on the South Gladstone Rotary Club. So she's done full circle, and a great shout out to David Nunn in particular and Bruce for the great work and effort they put into that. It's a fabulous program, and I don't think Queensland, Education Queensland can get involved because they've got nothing to do with it, so there's a fair chance it will survive this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. And yeah, that was great storytelling. Thank you very much.
Look, it's all factual, it's all true.
Yes. Yeah, I just love the way you also, told it. Thank you. I will just mention a couple of things which I probably should have mentioned at the beginning, but this is more related to some of the things I did in the last couple of weeks. And it wasn't just myself, but a couple of other councillors also attended the opening of the social work clinic headed by Yalila Torrance, where, well, this is, again, another example of a great local Indigenous woman that is investing in our region with a couple of other professionals to provide services to our families and especially children. So congratulations, Yalila, on the opening of your clinic. There's another couple of very important things that happen in the region, and one of those was the 60th birthday of Chanel College. So I attended the annual mass last week, which was really well attended, like every year is, but it was a little more special because it's the 60th year of the college. So congratulations. It was a great morning, and there's definitely a lot of people in our region that has a lot of stories to tell from those 60 years of operations. So the other one is the turning of the sod of the Gladstone Indoor Sports Centre, which saw a couple of Senator Chisholm also attend. And I wanted to recognise the Mayor, Matt Burnett, also for his contribution to the financial support for that project, but also one of our former colleagues, Rick Hansen, who has been also always advocating for the betterment of our region, but more specifically in the basketball space. And I met him there, and he was telling me how many, many years ago, that building that is already, it's now there, standing there, and is quite old at the moment. So he actually mortgaged his own home with a couple of other members and volunteers to make sure that they could get money to build that space for people. So congratulations to the committee and from GABA and all those involved. That was a really great morning, and everyone was really happy that finally, after so many years of advocacy work, and they've been able to get a significant amount of money to commence the project. And the last thing I wanted to say, and it seems that today we had a bit of a theme of young people too. Yesterday I spent a whole lot of, most of the day with young people as I helped do some interviews at Gladstone State High School for next year's leaders. And, well, I can't really say, I have no words to describe how much and how talented and how hardworking some of our young people are. So, and then in the afternoon, in the evening actually, with Councillor Davis, we attended the Youth Council meeting with also some of the junior council members. And yeah, again, you know, lots of good people that we have, and sometimes we don't recognise enough the young people of our region, but they're wonderful and they're our future. So on that, I'll finish my councillor report. And I'll move on to, Councillor Simon McClintock, do you want to add anything? Okay. Any urgent business? No. Do we have any notices of motion? No. In the agenda? Any confidential items? None of them are there. If there isn't anything else, I would like to close the meeting, and it's 10:13. Thank you very much.